Inside us all is the strength to control darkness.
Hello everyone, Jade here with Planet Destiny. Okay, hold on, stop everything. This isn't Planet Destiny. What's going on? Hello world, my name is Jade, otherwise known as Scarlet Rebel, and you might be thinking to yourself, Jade, why on earth are you uploading a video about a lore book that literally came out in a release that came out last year? A lot of people have already made videos on it, and you are definitely late to the party. What is this? Well, to keep it brief, this video was one that I originally scripted and recorded to go up on the Planet Destiny YouTube channel. However, we all just kind of decided, we all being myself and Moon, the time for the video had just kind of come and passed. So she basically said to me, hey, if you want to upload this on your channel instead, go for it. So that's what I'm doing. So yes, I'm aware that this topic is a little bit last year. However, I spent a lot of time on the research and the script and stuff like that, so I would like to upload it somewhere. So here it is. On the subject of Planet Destiny, I do also want to mention that I did recently upload a video over there with them about the Presage exotic mission surrounding the Dead Man's Tale quest. It's a really cool video that kind of looks into why the ship got there, what happened aboard, why is it all darkness infused, like why was Callus there, what was he doing? It, you know, answers those 5 why, what, where, when, how questions. I think that was only 4, but you get what I mean. So yes, I will leave a link to that video on the screen and also down in the description if you guys could go over, give it a like, maybe comment your thoughts on the Presage mission, and give Planet Destiny a subscribe as well. They're an amazing channel, very informational on everything Destiny, from guides to everything about your weekly resets, and of course the lore that myself and Kythe do. But anyway, that's a long enough introduction already. I hope you guys like this video.
Inside us all is the strength to control darkness. Now is our chance to seize it. We can all use it for good, to save humanity. I wield it now with intent to stop our enemies where the light cannot.
The release of Beyond Light brought with it the reintroduction of one of Destiny's most mysterious characters, the Exo Stranger. For many Guardians, this may be your first time meeting her, but those who have played the original Destiny campaign will know that she played a massive part in helping us destroy the heart of the Black Garden, thus allowing the Traveller to begin to heal. It was the Exo Stranger's advice and guidance that led to this very important victory, but afterwards she disappeared. So little was known about her, and for a time it felt as though we would never see her again.
I know. I owe you an explanation for all this. I once asked Guardians to destroy the Blackheart, to prevent Darkness's arrival. Success may have been achieved, but I now know that fate comes knocking sooner or later. The floodgates are open. The darkness is here. I wield it now with intent to stop our enemies where the light cannot. Your resilience within the pyramid proves you're capable of wielding it too. Before us lies what we call a ziggurat. Its purpose is temptation. To begin your training, you must give in. Here, take this. Please understand. The line between light and dark is so very thin. Let's cross it together.
So why has the Exo Stranger returned? And most importantly, why is she intent on us wielding the darkness? Throughout the campaign of Beyond Light, we get some answers to these questions. We find out that the Exo Stranger is in fact Elizabeth Bray, Anna Bray's sister and granddaughter to Clovis Bray, the man responsible for the creation of the Exos. Whilst not a Guardian, she survived the collapse due to having her consciousness transferred into an Exo body at her grandfather's insistence. However, there is not much known about her life between the apocalyptic event and when she reached out to assist with the Black Garden. More importantly, however, is what she knows about our future. The Exo Stranger speaks consistently of a dark future that she has witnessed, in which the darkness was victorious. As you unlock more of your stasis ability, you uncover pages of the Dark Future Lore Book, which is an insightful look into the turn of events that she is so desperately trying to prevent. But once more, wherever the Exo Stranger is concerned, further questions arise. How was she able to see this dark future? What does it hold? And most importantly, how do we prevent it? In order to answer those questions, I've managed to compile a rough timeline of the Dark Future, using the book to show not only how it differs to our present, but also the events that led up to the Guardians and the light losing to the darkness. Furthermore, to explain how the Exo-Stranger managed to return to warn us of this future, and why she so strongly believes that the only way to prevent it is to wield the darkness as a tool.
Darkness is a parasite. It burrows its way into your soul and feeds on your most selfish desires. Your every wish, tainted and twisted, as you become the very thing darkness wants you to be. In that world, there is no future for any of us. I have witnessed this firsthand. I refuse to let it happen again. So know this as you step away from the light once more. Inside us all is the strength to control darkness. We need only look inward and remember why we're here. We are humanity's final salvation.
In her original timeline, Elizabeth, or Elsie Bray, was never known as the Exo-Stranger. There are only two people who we know for certain were aware of Elsie's existence, Marisov and Anna Bray. Whilst we don't know the circumstances of Elsie's involvement with the Awoken Queen, we know that she attempted to reach out to Anna. However, in the book, she states that this family reunion didn't go so well. Most importantly, we learn that Elsie never had a hand in aiding the Guardians, as the Vanguard's first foray into the Black Garden was a series of cloak and dagger missions. Having never been led by one who knew about the dangers of the Vex and the darkness, the Guardians who attempted to suppress the Black Heart instead became corrupted by its power. Even the young wolf, our very own Guardian, was not free of such corruption, as Elsie warns us in the Beyond Light campaign. Thus, Dark Guardians began to spawn, and throughout the course of Elsie's original timeline, the darkness slowly corrupted more and more Lightbearers. Now, we can only assume that certain events not mentioned in the book occurred in some parts similarly as they do in our present time, although this is of course conjecture. For example, we know that Cade 6's death still occurs in Elsie's original timeline, but we don't have confirmation as to whether he died within the depths of the Prison of Elders as he did in the events of Forsaken. Regardless, Zavala and Ikora's relationship becomes incredibly strained after his death. In this version of events, the death of their friend and witnessing corruption throughout the ranks of the Guardians is too much for the two to reconcile their differences. It drives a wedge between them, which ultimately attributes to their downfall. Following the death of Cade 6, just as it occurs in our present time, Eris Morn discovers a pyramid within the moon. Again, it would be conjecture to state that the events of Shadowkeep occur in a similar fashion between the two timelines, but the main difference that drives the darkness to victory is this: Eris Morn herself becomes corrupted. There's no exact recount of how Eris became corrupted within this lore book, however we know that it stemmed from discovering the artifact within the pyramid. Given that this artifact spoke to Eris Morn and the young wolf during Shadowkeep, claiming to be the darkness and calling itself the Winnower, we could speculate that in Elsie's original timeline, Eris took the tempting words of the Winnower to heart. We also know that the pyramids arrived in Elsie's original timeline just as they did in the Season of Arrivals, placing themselves on Mars, Io, Titan, and Mercury. Therefore, it's easy to speculate that Savathûn was also reaching out whilst the Winnower was delivering their messages of temptation to Eris. Ultimately, Eris eventually gave in to the darkness and joined forces with Savathûn in secret to plan the demise of the Guardians. Meanwhile, upon the icy moon of Europa, Eramis and her House of Salvation sieges the Deepstone Crypt. Unchanged between the timelines is Clovis Bray's experimentation with stasis, wherein he attempted to understand and use it as a weapon. The House of Salvation takes stasis for themselves from Clovis's research, and with no one to stop them, the power spreads upon the world like a plague. Eris Morn and the Witch Queen work in secret to amass a dark army, comprised of the Dark Guardians, their power growing since the discovery of the Black Garden, and the House of Salvation, powered by stasis. Somewhere along the way they also joined forces with the Cabal, though it's not made apparent why and how. So, when the Dark Army finally attacked, masterminded by Eris Morn, the Guardians were woefully unprepared for the clash. Difficult to think about that day. The bombardment. We were hit on all sides. Eramis, the Cabal, Savathûn, all attacking our strongholds at once. We never recovered. When the Dark Guardians turned on Eramis and the Cabal, everyone who wasn't killed went into hiding. The last city was destroyed under the assault of the Dark Army, and the tower reduced to rubble. Savathûn found Zavala and Ikora, tearing Zavala's leg from its socket and ripping the light from his ghost. All we know of Ikora Rey is that she died fighting off the Witch Queen, her body lost as the tower fell. Finally, all hope vanished when the Traveller abandoned the Guardians, as it once did the Fallen. Such an event has been theorised for years, touted by those who view the Traveller not as a benevolent god, but as a selfish force of nature. To save itself, it ran away, and the Cabal destroyed what remained. The darkness had won.
Aramis's presence on Europa is not happenstance. Temptation set the wheels in motion, but obsession propelled her here. To destroy the light with an army of darkness, she and her followers make those selfish choices moment to moment. The darkness places a spotlight on our desires, as it once did me and those I cared about. For a time, I had forgotten.
Little is known about the time in between the bombardment and when we meet Elsie in the Dark Future Lorebook. We know that in our present timeline, Eris Morn works with Marasov for unknown reasons. In Elsie's original timeline, we can assume that the same is true, as after the bombardment, Mara considers Eris a traitor and attempts multiple times to assault Eris where she and her army reside on the moon. These failed assaults not only force Mara to take refuge on the Leviathan, Callus's whereabouts unknown even to her, but also led to some of her Awoken defecting to Eris's side. However, the Fallen and Cabal at some point defect to Mara's army upon the Leviathan. As time passes, Eris hones her control of the darkness, being able to harness it to its full potential. Using such power, she traps the Vex in time, adding them to her growing army nestled within the Scarlet Keep. The Dark Guardians that remain loyal, the Hive and their Witch Queen Savathûn, the Vex and a portion of the Awoken all bend to her will. The Dark Future Lorebook begins sometime after the bombardment. The Bray sisters are separated until, ghostless and injured, Anna seeks out Elsie and asks her to teach her how to use stasis. Anna is committed to rallying those that are left and using stasis to take out Savathûn, the two sisters unaware that she is merely a pawn to Eris Morn. Elsie is immediately unconvinced that such a plan would work, and furthermore she has purposefully put distance between herself and Anna for this very reason. Anna is smart, but easily led astray, she admits within the law book. It's a miracle she ended up how she did. I can't get involved. Nevertheless, Anna believes that attacking with both light and dark could assure them victory. Elsie only gives pause when Anna produces a drive from her satchel. You have him? I ask in disbelief. What's left of him? The Warmind. I guess he didn't vanish with Mars. There is power there, but this is still a foolish plan. Although Anna seems hell-bent on learning stasis, and with Rasputin she'll do it. Once she puts her mind to something, there's no stopping her. I always thought the best way to protect her was to stay away from her. If I push her away now, can I really say I'm doing it for her? Only trouble is, he's stuck on this drive, she says knowingly. He could use a new vessel. Anna smiles at me coyly. She knows exactly what to do and just how to bait me. I cast out a million second thoughts. I can't let my sister get herself killed. Lead the way. When Anna and Elsie make it to the Deepstone Crypt, the power is on. They aren't the only ones who have been inside. Elsie remarks that Anna seems almost familiar with the space, especially once they come upon Clarity Control. Anna is notably fixated by the cloaked statue, and Elsie must snap her back to reality. As they finally come upon the birthplace of the Exos, they find the Drifter lying dead over a console. Anna remarks that he was probably trying to achieve what they are, and Drifter's image stays with Elsie. The thought of dying, cold and alone, refuses to leave her. As Anna starts the process of uploading Rasputin, she prods once again at Elsie regarding Clovis Bray and their family, revealing what Elsie suspected. She's been to the crypt before. Not only that, but she found Clovis's journal, and tries to defend their grandfather. Outside of the redacted memos and experiments, there were stories and recollections of our family. It's all from his perspective, so he was never the villain, but still, maybe he wasn't as bad as we thought. He seemed to care about us, in his way. Really? He did some good, Elsie. I was there, Anna. I saw the things he did. He was delusional. Of course he was never the villain in his own story. After some time, an Exo emerges from a pool of radiolaria. Rasputin is awake once more, and the party of 3 set off to find more allies. Amongst the rubble of the last city, conversation once more turns to the Bray family. Elsie remains cold to the idea of talking about the Bray family legacy, trying to stave Anna off by explaining that their grandfather tampered with her memories. Anna persists, begging Elsie to at least tell her what she does remember. However, Elsie remains cold to the topic, and the conversation quickly turns into an argument, Anna frustrated at Elsie and vice versa. The readying of a rifle behind them stops them in their tracks. They turn to see a familiar face, Commander Zavala. Though Anna immediately reveals herself to him, he doesn't lower his weapon. Elsie describes him as dishevelled. His ghastly white beard is as thick as a steel door, and from the looks of him, a gentle breeze would knock him off his crutch and one remaining leg. Anna tries to reason with Zavala, telling him that they're looking for Ikora Rey. He solemnly reveals to the sisters that her body lies somewhere beneath the rubble of the tower. Though shocked, Anna isn't deterred, telling Zavala that they are trying to make things right by taking down Savathun. Still, Zavala has no hope such a plan would work, telling Anna that there is no hope left. "You're a coward!" Anna screams at him. "A coward. I did everything I could to save the city. And her. But we were at odds, just like the two of you. It was our downfall," Zavala says. He shakes his head and sighs. "Looks like it'll be yours as well." As mentioned earlier, in this timeline of events, Zavala and Ikora's relationship is considerably more strained. Zavala admits to the sisters that he never had the chance to apologise to Ikora before she died, and the regret weighs deeply on him. Elsie can see how much Zavala's words hurt her sister, so she helps by talking of her and Anna's father, Clovis II. Even though they argued, both stubborn and set in their ways, she would never leave without telling her father that she loved him, and the one time she didn't, he didn't return to her. The confession seems to soften Zavala, as Elsie promises that they won't make the same mistakes he did so long as they fight together. The reveal of Rasputin in his exo body also seems to persuade the former commander, but he tells the sisters that even the war mind might not be enough, as Savathun is only a pawn to Eris Morn. The sisters struggle to wrap their minds around this, especially Anna. Zavala leads them to where he has made his home, in the shell of the Almighty, the Vanguard's last victory before the bombardment. Rasputin immediately plugs himself into one of the ship's consoles, intent to decrypt files Zavala has attempted to for years. Whilst Rasputin works, Zavala tells the sisters of what happened during the bombardment, hailing it as Eris Morn's masterstroke. The conversation is interrupted when Rasputin reveals what he's found hidden within the Almighty, blueprints for the device that once ensnared the Traveller and drained its light. What's more, he confirms that there is a tracking device on the Traveller, installed by Clovis Bray as a failsafe in case it ever decided to run. Between Zavala, Elsie and Rasputin, a plan is formed. Find an army to help them build the device, locate the Traveller, and force it to help them in the fight against Eris and the Dark Army. Anna, however, is hesitant at every turn. "Anna, this is as good a shot as we're going to get. Did you drag me all this way to give up now?" I ask. No, you're right. We can figure this out." Zavala smiles faintly while watching us. "What do you say, Commander? One last ride for Ikora?" Anna knows just what to say. "I suppose," Zavala says. "If this is the end of the world, we may as well go down swinging." Anna's eyes light up. "We'll still need that army." "I know of someone in command of an army who has a bone to pick with Eris," Zavala says. "We need to find Mara Sov." En route to find the Awoken Queen, Anna once more attempts to convince Elsie to teach her to use stasis. Elsie once more refuses. The conversation comes to a head when Anna claims that Elsie isn't helping her, that Elsie has followed her diligently to this point, with the intent of keeping her alive. When she asks Anna what this conversation is really about, Anna storms off, revealing Zavala, who has been eavesdropping. Zavala comments on Elsie's use of stasis, the older Bray sister biting back, to which Zavala relents. He tells Elsie that when he was commander, he was always angry and trying to control everything. He thought he had all the answers, citing that such a mindset was the Vanguard's undoing. He implores Elsie to consider why Anna is asking what she's asking, and to listen to her. Their ship finally comes upon where Mara Sov and her own army resides, the Leviathan. Upon landing on the ship, they meet with Mara whilst Cabal and Fallen work alongside what remains of the Awoken army. Anna is immediately discourteous towards Mara, something Elsie tries to dissuade as she knows that the Queen expects respect. Zavala helms the conversation, introducing Rasputin and telling Mara of what they've discovered. He requests her army's aid in building the device to capture the Traveller, but Mara tells him that the only thing holding her from accepting their fealty is an aroma of darkness emanating from Elsie. "My queen," I say, lowering my head. "I am wielding stasis, but we want the same end, to survive this." She's unconvinced. "Elizabeth, you once asked me to pick a side, even if it was the wrong one. Tell me, did you choose correctly?" she asks. "I should hope so, since I am at your side once more." Mara and Zavala exchange a loaded glance and he nods, offering his approval. "Do not mistake my hospitality for trust. You will earn it on the battlefield." I bow again. Anna does not. Later, Elsie overhears Mara and Zavala talking about Anna, fearing that she has a thirst for darkness that they need to keep an eye on. Zavala assures Mara that if things go south, he'll take care of Anna himself. Anna comes upon the scene, outing Elsie's eavesdropping to Mara, who calls out to them, but Anna saves the situation by walking into the room and stating that the sisters only wanted to talk strategy. Her save manages to distract Mara and Zavala until the Leviathan finds the Traveller, and Mara's army readies itself to capture it. Upon approach, Zavala collapses to the floor, seemingly afflicted by the Traveller. He attempts to talk to it, begging it to return to them. When he comes back to himself, he states that the Traveller intends to run, and that they need to take it back by force. The assault is successful in capturing the Traveller, but in the mass of celebrating bodies, Elsie is unable to find Anna. As everyone prepares to assault Eris and her dark army for what they hope will be the final time, Elsie confronts Zavala about what she overheard him say to Mara. He defends himself by saying that he's known Anna for a long time and felt something was off. Elsie tells him firmly that that isn't his call to make, and so Zavala relents, telling her that he hopes she has the strength to kill Anna should it come to that, for everyone's sake.
Perfect. This is exactly what we need to decrypt the journal and find that stasis research.
Stasis? You mean darkness power?
Anna, what we're doing here is extremely important. Stasis is just a tool. We've used it for good.
You're using darkness?
I was skeptical at first too, Anna.
Both of you? After everything it's done to us?
Anna, our past. I thought that keeping it from you was the best way to protect you.
Protect me? I've been protecting myself just fine without your help, thanks. And this? Using the darkness? That can't end well.
And it didn't before. But this time...
Hold on. Before?
In another timeline, Anna, you were too obsessed with your past for your own good. And I was too selfish for my own good. The truth is, I'm not from this timeline. Where I come from, the darkness won. And I tried to shield you from it, but all I did was drive you to it. I'm sorry for keeping so much from you. I think the best way to help you now is just to be there for you.
Look, I don't mean to be ungrateful, and it's incredible that you're alive. Really. But I don't know how to handle this. I'm sorry.
Anna, wait!
On the cusp of their attack, Elsie describes the atmosphere as a death march. Zavala and Marasov rally the troops, their speeches mournful. The gravity of what's at stake isn't lost on anyone, and it compels Elsie to apologise to Anna for all those years where Elsie kept her distance. Anna tells her to save it for after, confident in their victory. Anna, Mara, and Elsie join the ground troops of Awoken, Fallen, and Cabal. The dropships touch Luna's surface and the battle begins as Wave of Thrall meet the attackers. From the Scarlet Keep, Eris Morn begins to draw power from beneath the moon, sending more Hive and Dark Guardians into the conflict. Defected Awoken ships, perverted with Hive thorns and insignia, rise from behind the keep, joining the assault. As they begin to fire, Rasputin uses the last remaining satellite arrays to blast them out of the sky. In her frustration, Eris begins a summoning ritual, unaware that as the battle has raged on, Zavala has been using Gaul's technology to overcharge himself with light via the Traveller. Sacrificing himself, Zavala flies towards the Scarlet Keep, intent to take out Eris's pawn. He collides with the structure so precisely that he only creates a small fissure. After a moment, an explosion, bright and disastrous, completely levels the keep to rubble. We hear a deafening scream throughout the field that could only be Savathun. Mara races to us. The witch is weakened. We strike now. With Savathun dead thanks to Zavala, the three women descend on Eris, who greets them calmly. All of my detractors in one place. Thank you for bringing them to me, Anna, she says and smiles. Elsie's confusion blindsides her, allowing Anna to freeze her in place with stasis. Unable to move, Anna murders Mara, and Elsie discovers that not only does Anna have command over the darkness, but her sister has been on Eris's side this entire time.
We told her she was adopted, Anna. It was simpler than telling her about our father's infidelity. But it was more than that. Anna had some destructive tendencies as a child. Reminded us all of the old man himself. Our mother thought if Anna believed she wasn't one of us, she'd dodge our grandfather's genetic cruelty, she called it. Anna bought it. Cruelty isn't genetic. It's learned. Clovis chose to be evil, and Anna was just a child acting out after losing her father. But in my original timeline, my dark future, Anna eventually found her own brand of cruelty, thanks to the darkness. It used her troubled past to manipulate her, and she wasn't strong enough to resist, and I had to put an end to it, to my little sister's life. There was no other choice.
You killed Anna?
In my dark future, yes. Truth be told, I miss her. But in this timeline, she doesn't even know that I'm alive. That's by my own design. This time, I kept her away from her past and from me to prevent the darkness from getting to her. But no matter what I do, it still finds a way. Eris Morn gave in to curiosity and brought the darkness. Aramis gave in to desire and built a dark empire. As with all things dark, they were both driven by obsession. Because that's where our fault lies. That's how darkness corrupts.
Fully given in to the temptation of the darkness, Anna tries to convince Elsie to join her and Eris. Anna tells her that they can be a family again, and forgives her for leaving her alone. Elsie refuses, making the grim decision to fight her sister with intent to kill, just as she promised Zavala. As the Braves fight, Eris summons a portal to bring forth the Vex that she had captured. The machines swarm the battlefield, destroying what's left of Awoken, Cabal, and Fallen. Vex Hydras swarm the Leviathan, opening fire and killing Rasputin on board. Elsie realises that they have lost, once again. Suddenly, Eris stands above me with a twisted grin. Do you see what the path of self-righteous yields? You called it protection, but all Anna felt was abandonment. You left a void, darkness filled it. You have bigger problems, I say, looking to the sky. A piercing noise emanates from the Traveller. Its brilliance begins to swell. Worried and confused, Eris commands all her forces to focus on killing it with dark energy. With Eris distracted, Elsie attempts to reason with Anna once more. Her younger sister, who she tried to protect through distance, is too far gone. After freezing her in place, Elsie delivers the killing blow, watching as the light leaves Anna's eyes. Elsie turns and runs towards Eris then, with all her strength intent to kill her and end it all. The darkness completely covers the traveller above, and an explosion of light enshrouds all in totality. Darkness follows. And whilst it would be easy to believe that this is the dark future that Elsie is trying to prevent, this is only the first of many that our exo-stranger has experienced. When Elsie awakes, she sees the tower. She's in the last city. A parade is bustling through the streets with Cade 6 at the centre. This parade is for him, a celebration of his recent victory over Tanix the Scarred, and becoming the newest Hunter Vanguard. I'm so sick of this scene, of hearing these words ever since the day I killed my sister. That was the first time. Now I've lost count. No matter what I do, it always ends the same. Blood and betrayal. Then I'm back where I started. Right here. Multiple other lore entries tell us of Elsie's experiences with her loops through time, most notably the two exotic sparrows, Any Other Sky and retrocausality. From these we learn that there are three constants to the dark future: Eris being corrupted by the darkness, Drifter being lost to a hopeless pursuit that we don't know the specifics of, and Elsie killing Anna. These reflect her movements in our present time. We can see that in keeping Eris and Drifter close, as well as revealing herself to Anna, Elsie is doing her best to circumvent what she knows is bound to happen. This is also why she helped us defeat the Heart of the Black Garden, to prevent the corruption of Guardians en masse. And whilst it took her a long time to confront us again, what we have managed to achieve alongside Elsie has already given her the hope that this time, the loop could be broken.
You have taken control of the darkness within and sent Aramis to her end. It's time the truth presented itself to you. I mentioned before, another timeline. My own. There Aramis lived, and the temptation of darkness thrived. It pervaded the minds of the good and preyed on their desires, bringing about a new dark age. I feared these events unavoidable, and though I still do, you've given me cause to hope again. Our fight is far from over. We must prevent that dark future, no matter what. Thanks to you, I stand no longer at a familiar end, only a promising new beginning.
The time has come for the exo-stranger to reveal to you her secret. In another timeline, her original timeline, she failed to stop the darkness from manipulating Guardians and bringing about a second collapse. Since then, she has been carried through time, trying again and again to prevent that dark future. Looking at you now, she finally sees a future in which she might succeed. She thanks you, then reminds you that the fight has only just begun. More Guardians must take this path towards stasis. She'll be here to guide those that do. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. My name is Jade, otherwise known as Scarlet Rebel. Down in the description will be a link to my card, which is basically a website that's kind of like an online business card. It's got all of the links for my social medias on it, including in particular my Twitter. If you like Destiny, if you want to see me talk more about Destiny, if you want to see Destiny news, I would recommend following me on there in particular, but my Instagram is on there, I believe my Tumblr is on there, and yeah, you can go check it out. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe day. See you later.